As you may know, I was born and raised in Germany. I am the second son of a Portuguese family. At the time, German law did not automatically make me German. The result was simple and complicated at the same time. I was Portuguese, like my parents. Of course, I often asked myself whether I wanted to be German and whether that even made sense. When this decision became concrete, I was 17 years old. It was 1987, West Berlin. Germany was still divided. That year, for the first time, a far right party reached 10% of the vote. 42 years after the horrific Nazi regime, they called themselves the Republicans. The name was probably inspired by the party in the United States. It was a mildly identitarian, also isolationist party. In their speeches, they talked about foreigners. At the same time, voices from the conservative camp, especially from the CDU, were saying that foreigners had to adapt. Both of these things referred to me. So I thought maybe I should become active. I was never in favor of violence. And honestly, at that time, I didn't really know what integration was supposed to mean. I only remembered something that had been said to me when I was 11, that I could not receive a carnival medal because I was a foreigner. Yet I had long been living with Germans and with people from many other nations. They invited me. I invited them. I had no idea that I was supposedly so different. So I felt the need for clarification. I knew where right wing extremist skinheads met in my town, and I went to see them. Not as a provocation, but to understand what their demands actually were. They talked to me. They listed traits of foreigners that I had never heard before. I listened to everything, and I said to them, if all of this were true, then it would of course be understandable for Germans to want to feel comfortable in their own country. I meant that sincerely. I took all these accusations home with me and made a decision. I wanted to first understand the foreign society and, if necessary, reform it. What do you do first? You collect data. It was 1987. There was no internet. Fortunately, my father loved books, including academic ones. In his collection, I found an almanac, a book full of statistics about Germany. I began to verify every claim. For example, the claim that foreigners caused more crime. If you lived in the Wiesbaden Mainz region back then, you immediately thought of Frankfurt. At the time, Frankfurt was a drug hotspot. So at first, I wasn't skeptical. In the statistics, I did indeed find Frankfurt. Many foreigners, a lot of crime. The same was true for Hamburg. But then I looked at Munich and Stuttgart. There, the proportion of foreigners was 3 to 5% higher, yet crime was significantly lower. I found these contradictions in every single claim. So I thought, I need to talk to them again. I sat down at my computer, a C128. For each claim, I wrote a summary and printed everything on my loud dot matrix printer. Small booklets. Small because I only had a regular stapler. It took an entire day. In the end, I had 5 small booklets. The next day, I was glad to be able to present them to those people, not to win, but to move forward. But they opened the booklets and closed them again, claimed they had already read things like that, and said it was propaganda. So there was nothing I could do. At the same time, there was political criticism that foreigners were unwilling to naturalize. So I went to the local registration office and asked. It felt arrogant, and it would have cost 500 Deutsche Marks. That was the currency in West Germany. With that amount, you could fill about 20 shopping carts at Aldi, the supermarket. So I told myself Portuguese citizenship is fine as well. Given my experiences and my knowledge of the Nazi era, I wasn't even sure whether German citizenship didn't also resemble a closed metal gate, like the door of a mousetrap, no way back.